All right, attention all you Missoula haters out there, and maybe hate is a strong word, but Johnston Joe is definitely coming back, as we told you last night on this show. And Brad Stevens, he fleshed out why in his meeting with the media today, and I'm going to get to that here on tonight's KMac Sports Hour here on WPRO and 790 The Score. If only Johnston Joe was next to Brad Stevens today, they could go back and forth on exactly what happened in the first-round loss to the Sixers. Instead, it was just Brad Stevens meeting with the Boston media today for his end-of-season press conference, and he touched on all sorts of issues, like Joe Mazzulla's status, and there was no gray area involved there. Johnston Joe is the Celtics coach. But Brad also talked about playing style, as we discussed here on last night's show. And, of course, the duck and chuck three-point attack. He talked about Jaylen Brown and his leadership and what this team needs going forward in the director of basketball operations' eyes. So I'll summarize a few key things out of the gate. If Brad Stevens was coaching this team, I don't think they'd be playing much differently. They'd be shooting a lot of three-pointers and trying to play as best defense as they could. And this team was very good defensively this past year. And Brad Stevens, the guy who put together this roster, a roster that won 56 games and a roster that won Brad the Executive of the Year award in the NBA, that Brad Stevens isn't too impressed with the roster. He thinks they overachieved by a lot. He said this team needs more guys who can create their own shot, to give the offense better shots, and some type of scoring option closer to the basket. Although he was kind of confusing on that point, in all honesty. So we're going to touch all of these bases on tonight's show and hear a lot from Brad Stevens because, hey, I'm a big Brad Stevens fan. I think he is as good as any executive in the NBA. And he was, I thought, pretty forthcoming today. Again, a little confusing on a few items, but he spoke for about a half an hour. We won't give you all half hour. We're going to give you the highlights. That's what we do here in the show. Celtics fans, 401-438-WPRO, 438-9776. Let's get started with tonight's three big hits. All right, the Red Sox, they look to sweep the Tigers in their series finale tonight in Detroit. Sonny Gray gets the start. And before tomorrow night's home game against the Tampa Bay Rays, the Sox will honor its Hall of Fame class of 2026. That includes Johnny Damon, John Lester, Mike Timlin, and longtime public address announcer Sherm Feller. Wow, missed that guy. The Providence Bruins are in trouble in their opening playoff series with the Springfield Thunderbirds. The Bruins let a 2-1 lead slip away last night. The Birds win in overtime. They now lead that best-of-5 series 2-1. They can knock the regular season PBs out of the playoffs on Thursday night. Cam Neely and the Bruins leadership met with the media today, said the team needs more speed and talent to make a mark in the playoffs. He also said things will take some time after stripping the roster down almost 2 years ago. We'll hear more from Neely and Bruins leadership on tomorrow night's show. NBA tonight, no Joel Embiid for the 76ers as they face the Knicks at Madison Square Garden in Game 2 of their series. Embiid has both hip and ankle injuries right now. What kind of luck is that? Looked pretty good against the Celts. Kentucky Derby winner Golden Tempo will bypass the Preakness Stakes, aim for the Belmont in June, according to trainer Cherie DeVoe. Okay. By the way, Jaylen Brown, our friend Jaylen Brown, fined $50,000 for saying many stupid things about the officials on Twitch on Sunday night. $50,000 when you make, what does he make, about $55 million?
Yeah.
Come on, $50,000.
Currently playing under a $300 million contract.
Sure.
Yeah.
$50,000.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Rooch, can we agree that after listening to Brad Stevens today, he's fully supportive? I wouldn't say 100% supportive of Joe Mazzulla and the staff, but he went out of his way to make it clear that he thinks the Celtics overachieved this year. Maybe not in the playoffs, but overall. I thought that made that pretty clear.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of obvious too, right? Like they did overachieve. They got 15 wins over what their projected win total was supposed to be, or whatever that was. So, by definition, they overachieved. And yeah, Brad Stevens seemed to, basically project what you'd want to see from someone in his position. He wasn't panicking, but he's disappointed, and he seems thoughtful and introspective about how he can make this team better. That's really all you can ask for from a general manager. Nothing really, revolutionary or revelatory came out of these comments necessarily, but good information nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think an awful lot of fans, I ran into some people today, and they're like, they got to get rid of Mazzulla. They got to get rid of Mazzulla. And they don't have what Brad Stevens needs to have as the director of the basketball operations, and that's perspective. He knows what he needed to do last summer in clearing all the salary cap space, cobbling this makeshift roster to some extent together, and hitting on almost everybody, and yet they couldn't get out of the first round. And he went on and on about how difficult it was to get good shots against the Philadelphia 76ers and what good athletes. And he's talking about, Paul George and Maxey and Edgecombe, how difficult it was to be able to get good shots against these, outstanding athletes. He didn't say great defenders, but outstanding athletes. He said outstanding athletes, Rooch, a lot. And it jumped out to me, well, he doesn't have outstanding athletes. He has two really good players, and he cobbled together everything else around them. And again, good for the Celtics and 56 wins, but I don't think he was surprised that they lost that series.
No, and here's the thing is they're plenty athletic when they play the way they're supposed to be playing and play up to their talent. I mean, if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown aren't athletic, then reboot this thing right now.
Well, they are. He's talking about the rest of the team.
Well, I think he's talking about them, too. Mm-hmm. They don't play physically. They don't play with great athleticism, right? Like, those guys, to be playing with great athleticism, heck, you look right across the floor in that series against Philadelphia at a much less talented, exponentially less talented player, Kelly Oubre, plays with much more athleticism than either Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. And that's not just aggressiveness. That's using your size. That's using your athletic ability to change the game. And again, we're not just talking about the three-pointers, but when you're only settling or always or settling for so many threes, you, by that definition right there, are taking some of your own physicality out of the game. So
yeah, the Jaylen Brown that we saw most of this season was way more athletic than pretty much everybody on the Philadelphia team. Going to the basket, using his strength.
Stiff-arming people.
And maybe getting called for it from time to time.
Not enough.
But instead we saw, a lot of threes. And Brad was asked about that higher three-point shooting rate.
Your three-point shooting rate in this postseason, last postseason, went up above 50% in those series, more than the regular season. Do you need to diversify more there, or is that simply, this is kind of what our roster is built for, we just need to do it better?
My general feeling watching us play in really each of the last two playoffs was we had a hard time generating really good looks on that first shot. So we got to figure out a way to do better in that. One of the things that we've got to figure out is how to have more of an impact at the rim, and I think we do need to add to our team. Every one of us would prefer a dunk over a three. Every single one of us. Those are hard to get, and we struggle to generate them. And so, yeah, we certainly shot some bad ones.
All right, impact at the rim. I thought that was an interesting way to phrase things. Is that Jaylen Brown, again, using his strength and speed and creativity to get to the rim, or is it, hey, Neemias Queta is their top big guy and is limited offensively? I think it's a combination of both, and to say nothing of Tatum and his ability to get to the rim, and he can. He did not much in this series. And he went on to say, Joel Embiid was usually at the rim defensively. And I'm sorry, challenge Joel Embiid at the rim. I'm willing to take my chances with Tatum and Brown taking the ball to the basket against Joel Embiid. But I thought that was the gray area a little bit there, Rooch. Was he talking, was he talking about his two superstars? Or was he saying, impact at the rim, we need a low post player or someone to at least throw the ball into, which they really haven't had forever. I mean, Porzingis, they didn't throw ball into him very much.
Yeah, no, he's talking about Brown and Tatum because you just sort of mapped it out right there. First of all, Joel Embiid was not waiting at the rim for this series, probably due to the fact that the Sixers didn't want him there because the injury risk was too great. So, no, Dikembe Mutombo, Joel Embiid was not waiting at the rim. This is all about the wings, Tatum and Brown specifically, attacking the rim because let's live in this world that Brad Stevens is talking about where Joel Embiid was waiting down there. Again, this is textbook page 1 of the coach's manual. You attack that guy, especially when you have two guys capable of doing so. It's not even a chess match. It's checkers. It's like, okay, fine. Let's foul trouble both of these fools. You're out of fools. I still have an all-pro first-team guy to run out there. And I'm not saying you just use Tatum or Brown to get into foul trouble, but, yeah, they don't even have the money to bring in a legitimate big without sacrificing either Tatum or Brown. So I think he's talking again. I think that's another shot at those guys, or at least an ask of them to, step from inside the three-point line and attack the damn rim.
Yeah, we'll get to their roster flexibility in a little bit, but Brad did go a little deeper on the team's shot quality.
I look at every shot, and so for me, it's evaluating each and every shot. But yeah, if we come down and shoot a really tough contested three when a guy's wide open at the rim, or if we have an action that we can get to, sure, yeah. I mean, I think anyone would say that. I think Joe would be the first to say that. And I also think that, we have to do our best to generate the best possible look we can.
Well, that didn't happen. That didn't happen for long stretches of that Philadelphia series, especially in games 5, 6, and 7.
I'll say this, too, about Mazzulla and his job security that we just touched on. We talked about it with Billy Donovan, whom we love him here in Friartown, Billy the Kid. But it's like, you're Brad Stevens. You're firing Joe Mazzulla. Fine. A lot of people will think that completely reasonable. In order to satisfy anybody, including myself, and I'm no huge fan of Johnston Joe, you need to replace him with someone with the winning playoff experience.
Sure.
Right? And, yeah, there was one guy, he's coaching the Tar Heels now.
Right.
But aside from Michael Malone and just in general, those guys don't exist.
They're coaching.
So we could easily live in a world where maybe Brad does agree with some of the people in terms of, the shortcomings of Johnston Joe Mazzulla, but at least he's smart enough to realize that why upset what seems to be an otherwise perfectly working apple cart when I'm not even sure. Actually, I'm pretty sure I couldn't find an adequate replacement out there on the open market.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Brad Stevens thinks Joe Mazzulla is the best coach in the league and will be his coach for the next, 3 to 5 years. That does not happen in the NBA. Usually these guys, their shelf life is only 5 or so years, and Joe's already been here that long almost. Yeah, exactly, Joe. And he'll – how about this one, Rooch, though? This was funny. I saw on The Athletic that there was a poll among NBA coaches. If you could play for someone who was not your coach, who would you play for? Who was number one?
I'm guessing it was Joe Mazzulla.
It was Joe Mazzulla with like 40% of the responses. I thought that was the other, and Daigneault was second, of course.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty good situation.
Okay. Can you guarantee that some of his players are on that team as well?
I'll take the guy with the 12-0 record in the first round of the playoffs.
So you wonder, what do all these players around the NBA see from Joe Mazzulla? Is it because they do have to play defense to play for Joe Mazzulla? But the offensive freedom, that's really what I'm sure jumps out to most players around the league. Celtics fans might say, yeah, that's the duck and chuck. But if I'm, mired on some bench in Portland, you're like, You go to Boston and duck and chuck a lot.
Yeah, sure.
With the best of them.
That again, though, brings up that same conversation. I mean, according to Brad Stevens and what you just broke down, they'll be ducking and chucking with or without Johnston Joe.
Seems to be. More Celtics, more Brad Stevens next on the KMac Sports Hour. Welcome back to the KMac Sports Hour here on WPRO and 790 The Score. Drive safely out there. It's raining pretty hard right now here in lovely East Providence, Rhode Island. By the way, a shout-out to my golf birthday party today. My golf birthday partner today, Johnny Egan. There's only one John Egan. Anyways, correct? There's only one John Egan, Rooch?
I would assume that's
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I do hear that name specifically quite a bit. So if there isn't just one, then he's very busy.
All right. So Brad Stevens there. If you missed it, Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter were on the socials. They
have their own podcast.
They do, their own podcast. And I didn't realize that Tracy is, quote, close to Jaylen Brown. I'd like to know how close, because I have not heard that Jaylen Brown has issues with Boston's organization in any way. I think what he's talking about is clearly he likes being the top dog. And he's not the top dog and will never be the top. Well, I shouldn't say never. You can never say never in this sport. But he won't be the top dog as long as Jason Tatum is here. And a 1B with a championship ring is a pretty good way to roll. And if by chance he has no issue or has some issues with Boston, please march into Brad Stevens' office, Jaylen Brown, express them, and then we'll find out what the next chapter of the Celtics can be. Because interestingly, and we'll get to Brian Windhorst from ESPN. He had some very interesting things to say today on Jaylen Brown. And one, he made it pretty clear, well, there's an obvious trade that's sitting out there. I just don't know if it makes the Celtics better because the player involved would be Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay, Rooch, you have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum as the two lead dogs in Boston. We know what that looks like. It looks like one championship, deep playoff runs when everyone's healthy. What does Jason Tatum and Giannis, a team built on those two guys, look like?
Probably more or less the same.
Is it Giannis all of a sudden getting older, stepping further away from the basket,
Absolutely,
shooting more three-pointers?
Right. He'll look a lot like Jaylen Brown looks now.
Or does he have, does he check the box with, getting a little better at the rim?
He does in a perfect world in the short term, but you just nailed it. I mean, the further we get away from the short term, the more he's going to step away from the basket, shoot the three-pointer, the more the Celtics going to want him to do that anyway. That he's already doing it. I mean, they're not going to, in all likelihood, they probably wouldn't change their system radically in order to fit him in, and I don't think they would need to, even if they didn't want him to shoot threes. But no, I don't see that. I mean, that's just right. Like, oh, let's see how it works over here. We'll swap with you.
Yeah.
That's more. We've got some malcontents on our hands. Let's try to make the best of the situation. I think the Celtics are better with Jaylen Brown, and the Bucks are bad. So I don't know what their situation is. But no, I wouldn't want to see Giannis here. I think Jaylen Brown is certainly a better fit. And if you're moving on from Jaylen Brown and you decide that that's what you want to do, I think you could make it work better than just with Giannis Antetokounmpo. All
right, Jaylen Brown under contract with the Celtics for the next 3 years. Here's Windy on JB's deal.
Number one, the Celtics have to decide whether they are moving forward with these guys in this style of play. They've been together for years, as Brad Stevens said, and here's where the decision comes, guys. In July, they get to offer Jaylen Brown a contract extension, $70 million a year. Now, he has earned it. He just had his best season. That's not what I'm saying here. But once you sign him to that contract extension, you're locked in. In the current NBA, no matter what anybody says, when you got a guy on a long-term deal, they don't want to trade for him. Now I got to move on to the second decision, and that's Jaylen Brown's decision. Does Jaylen Brown want to sign that contract extension with the Celtics? Because if we're going to pay attention to these words and what he's talked about, and, he has discussed how he thinks he's underappreciated. So that's a big decision. When we get to August 1st, if Jaylen Brown has taken that contract, we'll see in September. But if the Celtics have pause about whether he wants to continue in this alignment and that contract extension isn't happening, then we have something. And I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to wait and watch.
It's going to be interesting. This is how crazy the NBA is right now. Jaylen Brown is under contract for the next 3 years at about 60, here we go. 57, 61, and $64 million in the next 3 years.
180 and change.
There you go, 180 and change. And the Celtics have to think about extending him and giving him more money beyond his 32nd birthday. I guess, if he's truly, a franchise linchpin, build a franchise, build a roster around, which he has been throughout his career, this would be an opportunity that you would jump at. Rooch, I'm not doing this. I'm not jumping at giving Jaylen Brown an extension when I already owe him $180 million in the next 3 years. I could do it next year. Then again, if I wait 2 years, his feelings could be hurt.
Well, so this is the delicate dance you have to do if you're Brad Stevens, because Windhorst is right about the deadline and it being important, not even necessarily financially speaking, although there are long-term ramifications there, just from the personal standpoint. If Jaylen Brown does not want to sign that extension, and again, it's important to note that nobody else on the open market will be able to give him anything close.
That's right.
To what the Celtics will be offering him in this extension, then the clock will begin accelerating. You need to trade him almost right away. You won't, because he will have just flipped you the bird.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's why that's important. It's not like, oh, we want to tie up this money, this, that, and the other thing.
And Wendy is right. Once you sign somebody to an extension worth that much, he's almost untradeable.
Right, and so, again, sort of like before when he signed the current deal that he's on, Jaylen Brown would have to be almost, and stupid's the wrong word, because you can come up with good reasons to maybe want to, change directions here. But, that's a big-time cut he'd be taking to head to the open market. But, again, it's the personal aspect of it. The drama would be kicked into high gear if they don't get this extension done because of what that could potentially mean,
right?
Involving the relationship between the player and the franchise.
All right, I'm not doing it. What about yourself?
No, I'm not, and not even from some bitter, spiteful, I don't like the guy's game situation. It's about his age.
I'm with you.
And the money, right? So it's just like, there's no way he sees the end of that deal, and at the end, he's handing the reins to his heir apparent.
We've just seen Jaylen Brown in his prime, and we have him for 3 more years of his prime as it starts to decline. So why are you giving him more money for what age, when it would be 33 to 36?
Right. So, I think in Brad Stevens, like the perfect world, he'd want those 3 more years, that you could tack on with this extension, because that would pretty much push you straight through Jaylen Brown's prime. So that is a question, fiscally speaking, and do you like the guy's game or not speaking? But, I just look at it as Wendy just pointed out, we could be in for some fireworks if he doesn't sign that deal, because then, the Celtics will be actively looking to shop him, and that's the drama in and of itself.
I like summer drama, Celtics summer drama. Why not?
Why not? We could use all the drama we could get here with the Celtics not actually playing.
Yeah, that's right. One more Celtics item. They do have a trade exemption off of the deals that Stevens did last offseason, and it's a big one. It's over $25 million. The only player I see who they can throw, without multiple players, but the only single player I could see who could be principal in that deal is Derek White. And, what can you get back for Derek White right now that would improve your team? That's something that certainly the front office will explore as well. So,
you mean the trade exception, so they could trade a player?
Yes.
With that salary?
Yes, with that salary. Or bring in someone with even a little more salary
if they
than
trade
Derek
a guy
White.
with that much, right?
That's
so they could trade, let's say Derek White makes 25, they could theoretically, ballparking it, bring in someone that makes 35.
30, in the 30s.
Something like that.
So there's players out there, but will be interesting to see.
And that would be, right, and again, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, one of the top 3, and it's not going to be Tatum, so it's going to be one of those two.
Yeah,
replace them with an active big, who could obviously shoot a little. A young Al Horford. You know,
Right,
you bring in a young Al Horford, that would be a mix that would intrigue and impress a lot of people.
All right, when we come back, we get the Red Sox, a few other items next on the KMac Sports Hour. Welcome back to the KMac Sports Hour here on WPRO and 790 The Score. The Red Sox with 3 home runs in a single game. Haven't seen much of that this year. The Sox with only 27 home runs on the year. I think Aaron Judge has 14 by himself. And how about the new Japanese guy out in the National League? I'm trying to think. Who's he playing for, Rooch?
Who's this now?
The Japanese.
Suzuki? I don't know. I don't watch National League baseball.
I should have. Anyways, he's not Ohtani, but
no, he isn't.
He's a big time home run hitter. Anyways, a Sox with 3 home runs last night, including back-to-back by Contreras and Abreu. And then I don't know if you saw, Framber Valdez was so upset. Trevor Story was the first batter up after the back-to-back home runs, and sure enough, he plunked him right away. Thrown out of the game, suspended for 5 games. I mean, that's like, well, that's nothing.
One start.
It's one start.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. All right, I take it back. He's suspended. Just fine these guys. Anyways, Red Sox looking good in Detroit. Then they're up and running tonight with Sonny Gray on the mound. Then come home for a weekend series with Tampa Bay.
I got Kazuma Okamoto.
That's him.
He plays for the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays.
Yeah.
How many homers?
10.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
10th in baseball.
All right.
Yeah.
He was the big pickup in the offseason. That's right. The Blue Jays. Okay. I mean,
Alex Cora's got to be loving all these home runs that the Red Sox are hitting.
yeah, that's right.
He's on a beach somewhere.
I'm as concerned about the pitching as the hitting right now, which is saying something because the hitting is dreadful, regardless of what happened last night when they scored 10 runs. Sonny Gray back tonight, but he's been shaky and beat up a little bit. And, you know, the Sox going forward with their rotation is shaky. It's all the way around with this Red Sox team. They need to make a positive turn very, very badly and soon in order to give people hope, right? I mean, they just continue to slide backwards. I say that after they've won 2 games in a row. Who knows what happens tonight? But, you know, they're here it is. Here's their projected pitchers going forward. The rookie Bennett, the rookie Early, 2 blank spaces, and Sonny Gray.
Ooh.
I mean, that's their rotation as we speak. Crochet, of course, on the injured list.
Yeah, but blank spaces has been tearing it up in Worcester. So
A couple wins.
Yeah.
A couple wins by blank spaces.
Yeah.
Win on Monday night with blank spaces.
That'd be pretty good.
But, yeah, we'll see. The Red Sox. I don't know.
No, not a lot of hope. They could really bail us out here with the Celtics and the Bruins doing what they've done, but no. Absolutely not. This is not doesn't appear to be the summer that the Red Sox will make some sort of miracle run. But we're not going to have a lot of other things to talk about. So if they make that miracle run, we will be all over it.
Sox tonight. Jarren Duran is leading off, and you got to check in once in a while and just look at the numbers. Duran hitting 195. He was 0 for 5 last night.
Yeah.
I mean, you like your leadoff guy to get on base. He's hitting 195. And then I think this could be a season-long thing, Rooch. The Caleb Durbin watch. He's at 175. He hasn't sniffed 200 all season long for an extended period, anyways.
Alex Cora, he did that to Caleb Durbin.
We can blame him for only so long.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, the window is still open for blaming Alex Cora.
It is.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we know.
It's a long window.
Yeah.
And a long summer.
That's right.
Too long, potentially, for the Sox and their fans. All right, we're going to take a look at Winnapaug Country Club in Westerly. I'd love to be down at Winnapaug. Beautiful place. Going to check in with Winnapaug and have our pick of the night next on the KMac Sports Hour. Welcome back to the KMac Sports Hour here on WPRO and 790 The Score. Yeah, the Pistons. Cade Cunningham penetrating the lane and feeding off to a big guy for a dunk. Interesting offensive strategy. Pistons leading a playoff series for the first time since 2008. Crazy. Hey, we check in with local golf courses from time to time, especially this time of year as the golf season gets going. And today we bring in Nick Scola from Winnapaug Country Club. Nick, can you bring us up to speed on exactly where Winnapaug is this season? I know that you've had some work done in the last couple of years. Last year was a good one for you guys, correct?
Yes, we had a very good year. I mean, weather mostly cooperated other than a 7-week drought, but we had enough water in our irrigation system to keep everything green, and it was good for the customers.
Any updates in the off-season, or is it pretty much just a carryover from last year?
Nope, we did some renovations again over the wintertime. I mean, obviously, the snowfall did not help us to do all the things that we want to accomplish, but we took down a bunch of trees to have better line of sight to the greens, and everything seems to be working out perfectly so far.
Great. And how about the current condition? I know that obviously was, like you said, the snow cover in the off-season. We've been waiting for the weather that's come in the last 10 days around here. A little bit slower on the southern Rhode Island coast, but certainly starting to pop down there, I can imagine.
Yeah, it is. Again, we're a little cooler down there, so the grass isn't growing as much, but it has grown in. And obviously the fairways are in great condition right now. Tees and greens are perfect. And once the warmer weather comes, the rough area will grow in as well. And
Winnapaug had a great deal on our Sweet Deals promotion about a month ago, and boy, they get snatched up right away. But if you can lead people on how to get a tee time at Winnapaug, which I know is a very popular course.
Sure, the best thing is to sign up for our app, which gives discounts and rewards and preferred tee times as well. So that's the best way to book it and the most reasonable way to book it. But obviously, you can still call a pro shop and book it that way as well.
It's funny, you have a great idea on the website for buddy trips. You know, everyone's always looking for an opportunity to get away with some pals, and you think, do you want to drive to the Cape? Do you want to go to upstate New York, etc.? No, how about the coastal Rhode Island and beautiful westerly Rhode Island? Maybe you can tell people about that opportunity.
Sure. We own the villa in Bed and Breakfast, which is right adjacent to the golf course, and it has 8 beautiful rooms. 2 foursomes could easily fit in the resort. It has a beautiful heated pool, and it's a great facility. And you can literally, it's next door to the golf course, so you can walk right over and get an early morning tea time if that's what you want.
Great opportunity for sure. And hey, downtown Westerly has never been better. I know that you spend a lot of time like I do down there, Nick. It's a great place to spend a couple nights for sure.
It's terrific. I mean, the revitalization of the downtown Westerly, started back in about 2010, and I think every space is full, and there's 10 or 12 restaurants that you have a choice of, and really good food. Parking is easy, and so it's a very vibrant area. It's not as vibrant as maybe Mystic, but it certainly has come a long way.
Well, and a great opportunity to play some golf at Winnapaug as well. Nick, I appreciate you joining us. I hope you have a great season and an outstanding summer.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you down at Winnapaug Golf Course. Thank you.
All right, let's get to tonight's KMac Sports Pick of the Night. All right, Billy Andrade. Only wish Billy could give us his picks for the Truist Championship in Charlotte, North Carolina. It starts tomorrow. Rooch, I'm going a little off the board. I mean, so much love for Rory, Cameron Young, Matt Fitzpatrick. They've been the hottest players on tour certainly this year, but maybe they all look ahead to the PGA a little bit next week. I'm going with Jason Day at 55-1. I know you like those long shot picks.
Yeah. No, that's a good. You know what? I was looking at the odds for the Truist?
Truist
at Quail Hollow.
Yep.
And a lot of players, Quail Hollow's been on the schedule for a long time, and a lot of players really like Quail Hollow. There are a lot of players with good track records at Quail Hollow that you can find north of 30-1. And a lot of those players, some of them are actually playing really good golf right now. The first one I'm going to go with is actually just under that 30-1 marker. Siwoo Kim at 25-1. Again, you're looking for golf betting 101. You want golfers that are going to hit greens and then you cross your fingers on the putting, basically. The tee to green is basically all you can quote-unquote control, and Siwoo Kim definitely checks those boxes. Adam Scott, going with your Jason Day pick there, is another one who checks those boxes and is playing some great golf. But I'm going to go with KMac Sports Hour favorite.
Right.
Somewhere, Dan York's probably home by now, going into his nightly routine, enjoying what I'm sure is a very healthy dinner. But were he not doing so, he would be very excited to learn, KMac, that Sepp Straka is getting my seal of approval. I like Sepp Straka anywhere north of 40-1. I bet him earlier at 50-1, but I see him still hanging around at 40, 45. And to that end, you said Jason Day, Patrick Cantlay and Hideki Matsuyama, along with J.J. Spawn, all with great track records and playing some very good golf, all sit right around where Straka is at 45 or 50-1. So plenty of value if you want to chuck some darts this week at Quail Hollow.
Yeah, do some shopping for sure. And tonight, no Joel Embiid. The Knicks now favored by 10.5. What was it with Joel Embiid?
I don't know, but this feels like in the modern NBA, Philly's winning this game, right?
Well, yeah, game 2 pushbacks, right?
I mean, heck, they beat Boston in game 2 without Joel Embiid. How hard could it be?
A must-win game 2 for the Spurs. They're giving 10 points to the T-Wolves. T-Wolves won game 1, so 2 interesting games for sure in the NBA tonight. We'll look at those. And the, can we say the red-hot Red Sox? I don't know. And going to check in with the Bruins and what they had to say this afternoon as well. All on tomorrow night's KMac Sports Hour.